name is Dr. Lane Morales. I am a chiropractor at Pure Light Chiropractic. Today I want to give you a couple quick tips and tricks for working from home. The first thing you want to do is set up a great workstation. However, a lot of us may not have that access to a great workstation. We may be working from our beds or our bedrooms or our couches. So if you don't have a perfect setup, then what I recommend you do is you change your setup often. Humans are designed to be able to endure bad postures. We just can't endure them for 8 hours a day without negative consequences. So if you change up your posture on a regular basis, then your body's going to be able to adapt and handle it. Examples of that would be every 40 minutes to 2 hours. So ideally every 45 minutes you want to change your posture up or change your workstation up, but if that's not realistic, then set an alarm for every 2 hours at least. So between 45 minutes and 2 hours, get up and move to a different part of your house. So let's say you start from working from the bed, then 2 hours later, get up and go to the couch and maybe sit crisscross and lean up against the back of the couch instead of slouching. 2 hours later, go to your kitchen table and maybe get a big physio ball if you have one of those, or the yoga balls, and sit on that while you work at your kitchen table. 2 hours after that, go stand at your kitchen bar, and then go back to your kitchen table and use a regular chair and just kind of move it around all day. And that's a really good solution if you don't have the proper ergonomic setup. Another thing that you can do is at your lunch breaks, you can get up and go on a walk. Go on a walk around your neighborhood, go on a walk around your house, just get up and move, because really it's about movement. You can also take micro breaks where you're going to go and do a couple push-ups or sit-ups or lunges or bird dogs or stretching, anything like that that's just going to help you get in touch with your body again, and then go back to your workstation. So that is my biggest advice. If we can stand every 20 minutes, they say that that's better than 30 minutes of exercise at the end of your day. So every 20 minutes, get up and do something if you can. If you're on the phone and you take a lot of phone calls, maybe get into the habit of standing up while you're taking those phone calls. Maybe walk around your house. Maybe go down the street while you're on your phone calls. And move your body while you're talking. That's a really good habit to get into. So that would be my advice if you just can't set up a great workstation. And honestly, if you can set up a great workstation, it's still important to move your body every hour or 2 hours. So I still recommend doing that. If you're going to set up a workstation from home, the ideas that you want to think about are you want everything to be at 90-degree angles. So if you look at me like this, my arm is it's hanging by my side, and then my elbow is bent at a 90-degree angle like this. So ideally, I want to be working from here. That might not be an option, but you want to be as close to here as possible. The further you move your arms out like this, the more work your body is going to have to do, the worse your posture is going to get, and the higher chance you are going to have of having issues with your wrists, or thoracic outlet syndrome, which are issues in your upper body that are going to cause a lot of neck pain and tension and pain in your hands and arms. So really think about, even if you're mousing, if your arms are way out and you have to reach far, that is going to affect your overall well-being and your health. So try to bring everything back as close as possible. That may mean you need to get a tray so you can pull the tray out. I definitely recommend, if you are going to invest in anything, invest in a wireless keyboard, because that way you can move the keyboard a lot closer. If a lot of people are working on laptops, and the laptop and the screen are so close together that it just causes you to work like this. So if you're going to invest in anything, get a keyboard. And then my next investment would be a laptop docking station, so you can raise your laptop. When you think about where you want your computer screen to be, you want it to be, the top of the screen is going to be in line with your eyes, or about, if you raise your arm like this is about a 20-degree angle, and that should be the top of the screen. So sometimes we think, oh, if the higher the better, but that's just going to cause you to get into this posture, which can cause a lot of issues in your neck and headaches and other things like that. So think top of the screen is at the top of my fingers, and it's about this length away, which is another reason why laptops aren't great, because usually you're a lot closer. If you only have a laptop, then just make sure you're taking a lot of breaks and you're moving your body and you're stretching. If you do have monitors, a lot of people get an extra monitor, and I think that's a great idea, and some people have 2 monitors. The main mistake I see with 2 monitors is that there is one that we're going to use about 90% of the time, and the other one is not used as often. So a lot of people tend to take their 2 monitors and put them equally here, and then all day long their head is turned to one side. So I would say take your dominant monitor, the one you look at most, put it right in the center, and then take your other monitor and put it off to the side, and you'll figure out which side works better for you, and you may want to switch it around. If you do a lot of mousing or using just one hand, I would recommend trying to get familiar with your other hand. And I know that's really uncomfortable and difficult, but the more you can use both sides of your body, the less you're going to be more prone to having more like pain or issues on one side versus the other. So when it comes to standing desks, I'm a big fan of standing desks. I think they're great. If you're going to invest in a standing desk, then I would make sure that you get one that goes up and down easily, because standing for 8 hours all day is just as hard on your health as sitting for 8 hours all day. The ideal is every hour or 2 hours you change. So you're gonna stand up and you're gonna work for an hour or 2, and then you're gonna sit down and you're gonna work for an hour or 2, and then you switch it back up. And that would be an ideal way to use a standing desk. So it's worth paying the extra money for one that goes up and down. Or for having 2 workstations where you have your standing desk over here, and then you have your kitchen table or whatever else you have over here. As far as chairs go, when you have your arms here, a lot of times what will happen are people, the armrests, if you can't move them, they tend to be too high, and that causes us to work like this. So I say get a chair with armrests that are going to go up and down, so you can get to where your shoulders are down and back and resting correctly on that armrest. Or take the armrest off, because this is going to be really hard on your body, more hard than not having the armrests at all. When you buy a chair, you also want to get a high-backed chair. A low-back chair is just going to cause you to hunch over eventually. With a high-back chair, get one with lumbar support, and one that ideally that you can lock into place and then unlock. And the reason I like to unlock a chair is because when you are taking those breaks, or micro breaks or movement breaks, you can unlock the chair and then lean back in it, either to stretch or when you're on the phone, anything like that. And when you're doing that, what you're doing is you're hydrating your discs in your lower back, and you're bringing blood flow to the area. So that's going to be better than a chair that never moves. But you'll take your Microbreak, you unlock your chair, lean back, and then lock it back into place again. And then as far as the seat pan, so that's what you sit on in a chair. If you have shorter legs, you're going to want to get a shorter seat pan. Something that's really detrimental to your low back and your legs is having too long of a seat pan, because what that does is it'll start to cut off circulation in your legs. So you want one where when you're sitting all the way back in the chair, you can still place a fist between the end of the chair and behind your knee, and there should be about a fist width so that there's proper blood flow. One of the things that also happens is that you naturally want to get that proper blood flow, so you always will just sit forward in your chair, and then you don't use your backrest, and then you end up hunching like this. So ideally you want to sit all the way back in your chair and have enough length in your seat pan to where you're not hurting your legs, and then you can use your backrest as well so that you're upright. You don't want to necessarily be slouching in your chair either. When you are sitting in your chair, you may not be able to touch the ground with your feet, so then I would recommend getting a stool. You can stack books. There's a lot of different things you can do. You don't have to buy like all of these ergonomic things, right? You just start with what works for you and then move from there. But any kind of footrest that's going to keep your legs at a 90-degree angle like this is going to be ideal. If your legs are hanging off, that's going to cut off circulation and cause that low back pain and leg pain, which we don't want either. So to recap, most important thing is to change up your posture and take breaks as often as possible. If you get really into your work, then I would recommend setting an alarm. You can also drink a lot of water because that's going to make you have to get up and pee, and then every time you get up to go to the bathroom, go refill your water, maybe do some stretches, walk around the house, and then come back and sit down. And then also just pay attention to your body. If you notice that you've been in a position for a while and you start to feel stiff, maybe in your neck or your low back starts to hurt, that's a sign that your body wants you to stop doing what you're doing. So that's when you would get up and stretch that area and move around and change your posture, and then you can go back or change up your positioning. So if you have any questions about ergonomics that I didn't cover, please feel free to contact us, and I can have a free 15-minute consultation to give you answers to your questions.